Perturabo looked into the holographic image of his father, and wondered if it was actually an image, a psychic projection, or if it was in fact his father standing before him. Perturabo couldn't be sure which, even with his enhanced intellect and the systems of his Logos armor plate. "Father?" "Son?" "What is it you require of me, father?" "No need to be so formal, my son. Do I need a reason to check on the well-being of my children?" Perturabo was suspicious. Horus had just been made War Master, and the Emperor was due to return to Terra any day. Perhaps this meeting was a test of Perturabo's loyalty to the cause and to Horus. Perturabo was loyal, and he obeyed orders, so he decided not to be so suspicious of his father, but to ease on the side of caution. "I and my legion are performing adequately. The rate of compliance is within expected parameters laid out in the Council of Terra's Crusade plan." His father gently cut him off. "That is not what I was asking of you, my son. I have read your compliance report. The rate of your legion's compliance record is exemplary. I was asking about your well-being, my son." "Why do you ask, father?" "The Crusade is entering a new stage, my son. Things are progressing fast and the end draws near. In these times, I wish to know and to ensure that all my sons know their part to play for the future." So that was it. His father wanted to check up on him, to ensure Perturabo was remaining the loyal, compliant ditch digger, fighting his father's battles away from the sight of those civilized souls on Terra, wishing not to think about those struggling in the mud and the blood to build the Imperium. "I know my place and my duty, father. I will not fail you. I never have." "So suspicious, my son. Always looking for the poison in the meal, never at the feast itself." "It is how you avoid getting poisoned, father." "My son, what is it that troubles you?" Perturabo was tempted to tell the truth, to explode in an outbreak of emotion, to decry that he and his legion were treated as cannon fodder, discharged to inglorious duty while his brothers such as Gilliman, Fulgrim, and Dawn all hog glory and honour from those on Terra, while performing half as many victories as the Iron Warriors ever did. The changes to the dynamic of the Crusade are concerning, father. There are many different parameters to consider. My decision to retire to Terra and assign Horus as War Master in my stead was not a decision made without such consideration, my son." Of course it wasn't, thought Perturabo. His father had a mind that surpassed all others, even his, he had to admit. The reasons and factors he did not know behind requiring to make the decision that his father had was what concerned Perturabo internally. "So you will be returning to Terra soon, father?" "I will be, my son. I am just ensuring that all is prepared and running smoothly in the Crusade before my return." "The Crusade is running on schedule, father. Horus is a good commander. He will make for an adequate War Master in your absence." "Horus will do well, but he will need your help, son. Yours and that of your brothers before the end." "What do you mean, father?" "The Crusade is nearing its completion, and the remaining foes of mankind will become desperate. They will dig in and hunker down to avoid their doom." So that was it. His father wanted to assure that he and his legion were prepared to break the final fortresses of their foes. His legion was specialized in that task, and it was unnecessary for his father to check in on him to ensure that. "Whatever fortresses the foes of mankind build, I will break asunder." "I know you will. I have the utmost confidence in you, my son." The Emperor smiled a warm smile, and even Perturabo was reminded of the warmth and radiance of his father's affection. It reminded him of that day on Terra, and that meeting in the Astartes Tower between the two of them, so long ago. "I will not fail you, father." A moment of silence passed between them before Perturabo spoke again. "So, I hear the Imperial Palace is to be fortified upon your return." The Emperor smiled and spoke. "It is, my son. More of a ceremonial gesture, I must admit. The likelihood of an assault on Terra at this stage of the Crusade is unlikely." Just because an outcome is unlikely does not mean it should be overlooked.
No, you are correct, my son. Dawn and his sons will ensure that the palace is fortified, even if it is mostly a ceremonial gesture.
Perturabo internally blanched at his brother's name. Dawn. Always his brother overlooked his achievements. No doubt he'd be crowing of being made Praetorian over him. No doubt Dawn would use this as even more of a reason to look down upon the Iron Warriors and himself. Almost as if his father knew exactly what he was thinking, the Emperor spoke.
Brotherly competition is good, my son. It encourages both of you to reach greater and greater heights. However, it is disappointing that you feel as you do, my son. You and Dawn have far more in common than you would think.
I am my own individual, father. It is not my desire to be always compared to my brothers.
I know, my son. Your uniqueness is what makes all my sons so distinct, so able to perform the tasks assigned to them.
Another moment of silence passes between father and son.
My son, you are welcome to unburden yourself with me. I will not judge you or think less of you for your thoughts and feelings. The thoughts and feelings, for good and ill, is what makes us human after all.
Perturabo doubted that. He and his brothers and his father were far removed from the affairs and thoughts of mortal men, and Perturabo would not be seen as weak, unburdening himself, even to his father. The Emperor's smile faded, and he finally spoke again.
You were wondering why I am taking Dawn and his legion to Terra rather than your own, my son.
Perturabo did not say anything and did not like the thought of anyone, even his father, reading his innermost thoughts, but he doubted that he'd be able to stop him, no matter what measures he would employ.
It is not favoritism, my son, nor is it a review of your abilities or that of your legion. I chose Dawn to return with me because it is the most logical decision.
Logical decision?
It is indeed, my son. If I were to take you and your sons to Terra with me instead of Dawn, I have no doubt that if I asked you to fortify the palace, you would make it an unbreakable bastion, or if I asked you to rebuild the palace, you would make an even grander palace, grander than those on the Crag or Tizca, and one that would surpass all others in the galaxy with its splendor. But that is not where you are truly needed now, my son. To take you and your entire legion, over 180,000, I believe?
186,457.
To take you and your entire legion, and to return them to Terra, to wait out the end of the Crusade as my honor guard, would be a waste of your talents and of your legion, my son, when your talents will be needed now more than ever.
Perturabo said nothing. While his father's words had logic, he still had misgivings over the matter.
As I have said, my son, Horus will need you. Only you and your legion can break the last bastions of mankind's foes, and finally achieve the victory for the crusade for mankind. And when the crusade is done, my son, and mankind's future is assured, all of us will finally be able to achieve our dreams.
Perturabo doubted that even his father knew his dreams. While in the past his father had asked such things of him, his father had not asked since then, too busy to spend time with his sons.
Those fortresses you build on the worlds you make compliant, I assume your plan is to repurpose them as buildings of governance, for after victory has been achieved?
It was. Perhaps his father had remembered some things from their conversations in the past. It is, father.
I have no doubt, my son. I know that will be magnificent structures, worthy of a victorious mankind.
Yes, father.
I know that you bear your duty now, and I know that your duty can be a hard burden to bear, to be the architect of annihilation when in your heart you wish to be a constructor of peace, not war. But stay strong, my son. When the crusade is finally done, you will become the chief architect of the peace. This I know to be true.
Perturabo appreciated the sentiment, but he wondered if it would come to pass.
It will come to pass, my son. That I promise you. That together you and I will ensure your dreams, and the dreams of mankind come to fruition.
Perturabo chose to try and guard his thoughts more in future.
Take heart, my son. All will be well when the crusade is done. Look to your strength and your courage. Look to your sons and your brothers. And if you truly need me, my son, then you are always welcome to speak with me. You know where I will be.
I will, Father.
Until next time, my son.
Farewell, Father. The holographic image of the Emperor faded from view. Perturabo stared out into the space where his father was. He was not sure if his father's words were true. He wanted to believe them, but he could not be sure. Despite that, he had heard his father's promise to him. For once the crusade was done, Perturabo decided to hold on to his father's promise for now, to take strength from that dream and promise, and allow it to guide him moving forward. Iron within, iron without. Perturabo left his chamber to carry on with the next stage of the crusade.